The purpose of this training is to introduce you to this new preview display capabilities within HLS. I will show you how to build a pixel-based MegaTree from start to finish in approximately less than 20 minutes. So let's begin. Since we're starting a new HLS sequence, first thing we're going to do is we need to assign a name. I always like to put them in new folders. We'll just do this as preview show. Now we go in and we create our sequence. We'll call it preview show. We're going to select our audio. I'll use Music Box Dancer. And the audio is in. Now we're going to add channels. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to build a pixel plane MegaTree. We're going to build this tree out of 32 strings of pixels, where each string has 42 pixels on that string. So that comes out to 1,344 RGB channels that are required. So we'll add our 1344 RGB channels. Let's go ahead and identify them now as all RGB. We select them all, and we'll turn around and we'll select them as RGB. Now, I've assigned them a default name, but we kind of want to give them a special name. So let's call, since we're going to be referencing each string individually, let's call it an MT for MegaTree string. String 1 will have the first 42 pixels, string 2 will have the next 42 pixels, and so on. Here's a new help, and we want to use option 2 for naming our string. So what we're going to do is we're going to go at 42, comma, our name, our starting group, and our index for our number. So we're going to do an at 42. That's how many pixels per string. Comma, give it the name. MT, we'll call it string for megastring. We want to index after every 42. We want to increment that number. So that's an asterisk. We want to start at the number 1. We'll put an underscore, and then we put a percent. And when we do it, if you notice, now we have all of our channel numbers. Excuse me, all of our channel names identified by a string number and pixel within the string. Now, if I want to edit this, this is locked. This is frozen. So as you move the grid up and down, it stays in place. If you want to unfreeze it, just click the button, and now they're unfrozen. Now you can go in and manually manipulate them. They're frozen so I can see them. Over on the far right-hand side, this is how we assign channels to a preview. The preview in HLS is intended to be a design once your show, and then automatically allow that show preview to be used in any number of sequences. And it does that because the preview uses channels assigned by a group number and a preview number. So what we're going to do is we're going to assign group numbers the same as our string numbers. So we're going to have group numbers from 1 to 32, and then our preview number, which is our pixel number in between, is going, because it's going to be each group, each string is going to have 42 unique pixels. So we can come down here and we do a 1, comma, 42. Now when I do that, yes. Oh, that's why. Hadn't highlighted any boxes. Now we'll do it. So, now I've got 32 groups, and I've got 42 channels per group. Let's go ahead and save this now. So, What we've done so far is we've created a sequence that has 1,344 channels. We've broken these up into 32 strings of 42 pixels per string. Let us create a pixel plane. We don't want to look at 1,000 plus channels, so let's create a pixel plane. We're going to create a brand new pixel plane. We're going to call this our MegaTree. And we're going to assign all 1,344 channels to our MegaTree. Now we want to display something. We need to create a display group. Here's all our channels. We don't want all those channels on the screen. All we want is channel MegaTree. Now we have our MegaTree assigned. Now let's display our MegaTree. So this single line within the editor now represents all 1,344 channels, or 32 strings of 42 channels apiece. But how about a preview? Let's go up to preview. The new preview is here for now. I'll be moving it probably up in here in a little bit, but for now it's here. I would recommend sliding this down because this is going to get big. So what we need to do is we need to create a new preview. We're just going to call this, what did I call it? P-R-E-V-I-E-W. We'll call it Preview Show. In HLS, you identify a graphics port or this graphics screen. You need to tell me how big of a window to create. Do not create it bigger than your screen dimensions or you're going to be sorry. So in my particular case, we're just going to say it's 1024 by 768. I'm going to pick a background image. This is one that was provided me a year ago. I'll use that. Now, that background image is quite bright. I know for a fact it's bright, so I'm going to dim it down to 165. And I can test the settings, and that's how it's going to look. Now, if you notice, I kind of overlaid that, so make sure you get that out of the way. So we're going to lock that down. We now have our preview screen locked down with our image in the back. Let's draw our tree. We're going to click and we're going to draw a tree. We're going to start here in this corner, and we're going to make the tree that size and in that position. I did that by moving the mouse. To complete the selection, I hit the space bar. Now I'm faced with telling me about the object of the tree. So number of strings in the tree, there's going to be 32 strings. Number of pixels, there's going to be 42 pixels in the string. And let's go ahead and create our, we have a name. We'll call it MegaTree. And let's create our tree. Now that we've got our tree created, we have to assign channels to it. That means we have to let the preview know which of our physical channels that we're encoding are going to be displayed on this pixel tree. Well, when it comes to pixels, when it comes to trees, you can have a lot of objects, like 32 strings. How you would normally do it is you would click on the name. You would say, I want to just have multiple pixels, and if you click on this button, it'll pop up and give you everything there is. And we would want Universe 1, Channel 1. So we would select that and say, OK. Now, here's another way you can do it. Instead of clicking on this, you can right-click on Group to give it focus, and you could do a 2 and a 1, and when you hit OK, it would be a 2 and a 1. We don't want that. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to make it a 1. So I've assigned my first string as being string 1, pixel 1. Now, pixels in the assignment of megatrees are always starting at the bottom. If you wanted to assign it at the top, when you click on this, oh, not that one, you can do assign channels in reverse. That will then have the number 1 pixel at the top of the tree instead of the bottom of the tree. So now here's a nice little macro shortcut. I've identified my first string. It's starting in group 1, number 1. This is where it comes to play on how I numbered my groups. All of my numbers start in 1, it's just my groups are incremented. So I'm going to assign force pixel. It's going to look at this group and it's going to increment everything. So I'm just going to do a force assign. This will automatically assign an increasing group number based on the group in the first string, with number always being 0. Do I want to continue? Yes. Boom. There. I have just assigned all 32 strings to this tree. We click OK, and there is our tree. Now, here's some of the things you can do with the tree. We can click Move. When I come down here and click on the mouse, I can move the tree where I want to move it. If I click on the MegaTree, I now have all of my strings. If I click on Show String, there is string 1. Click it again, it's off. There's string 2. There is string 4. There is string 5, and so on. So I can turn on the individual strings if I like. So we have our MegaTree assigned. We've assigned all of our channels to the MegaTree. Let's go ahead and save it. And we'll exit out of preview. We've got our MegaTree channel sitting right here, our pixel plane channel. Let's go ahead and drop a pixel plane. I'm going to drop it right there. Add a pixel plane effect. This is one of Sean's early Nutcracker effects. It's based on 1344 pixels. It's called a meteor effect. Let's go ahead and open that up. This meteor, as it was designed, runs approximately 4.5 seconds. Let's go ahead and look at it. Let's turn on the preview. Oh, we need to assign a show to the preview. So we come down to preview and need to tell the sequence what preview show we're going to use. We're going to use that preview show. Now when we go, it says there might be some ghosts. If you delete or you add a bunch of stuff, there might be some ghosts. Bottom line is, when you're building pixels, you got to pay the piper sometime. And I've elected to kind of forego a lot of the low-level channel data elimination until you really need it. And this is one of the places. So I'm going to say yes. That'll make sure that all the channels are clean and fresh. Now I hit play and watch. And we have our MegaTree. Now if you notice, it's going pretty fast. John's stuff was moving pretty doggone quick. Let's turn around and right-click on this and let us modify this effect. Let us run this at 1/3 speed. Click OK. Now, since I moved it at 1/3 speed, that means the time effect has actually grown. So let's kind of pull this out here. Let's pull it out here as far as it'll go. That's about as far as it'll go. Let's go ahead and watch it now at 1/3 speed. I've modified it, so yes, I'm going to rebuild it. And we hit play. And now we have a much slower
The most famous classic in all the
That
world
is
of
how,
music.
in HLS, you can go from beginning to end in less than 20 minutes, designing, building, and displaying your MegaTree with a Nutcracker object. Have a nice day.